Hello students, today's class we are going to discuss about third chapter, that is current electricity, which carries 13 marks for your final exam. It's one of the biggest chapter in your second PUC. So we'll start our chapter now. Okay. In the previous class, I already studied about electric field and electric potential that comes under electrostatics. So what is the meaning of electrostatics? Charges are kept at rest. Then we studied electric field, electrostatic force, electric potential and many other concepts. In today's class, we are going to study about current. So what is current? First we will discuss about this one. Current notation is I. So what is current? Rate of flow of charge. Rate of flow of charge is known as current. So what equation for this one? I is equal to Q by T. I stands for current, Q stands for charge and T stands for time. So what is the unit of this current? I already studied. Unit of charge is coulomb. Unit of time is second. So this we can write as coulomb per second. So SI unit of current is, we can say it as coulomb per second, or we can write as ampere. Notation is capital letter A, or we can write like this. So I repeat once again, what is current? The rate of flow of charge. If charge in motion, that produces current. So I is equal to Q by T, and unit is coulomb per second or ampere, and notation is capital letter A. Now this current also called as steady current. This also called as steady current. Steady current means what? DC. So what is the meaning of this one? If I draw one graph, time versus current, I'll get one graph which is parallel to the x-axis. Time changes here, but current value throughout remains same. This means DC current or steady current. One more we can study, that is varying current, or we can call it as AC. AC means alternating current. What is the meaning of alternating current? Which continuously varies in magnitude and periodically reverses direction. So what is the equation for that one? I can write like this. I is equal to dq by dt. Here charge is a function of time. Charge changes with respect to time. So it's also called as varying current. If I draw the graph for the AC current, graph can come like this. This is the graph. This is called alternating current. If you observe this graph, whose magnitude keeps on changing and periodically it reverses its polarity. In this region you can observe current is positive. In this region current is negative. So this much about basic information about current. Quickly revise once again. So current is rate of flow of charge. Equation is I is equal to Q by T. And unit of current is ampere. So for steady current, also we call it as DC. If I draw the graph, this become like this. Varying current, this is called alternating current, or current can vary with respect to time. It can, graph can something like this, it will variable. This is called as varying current, whereas this is called steady or DC. Now we'll move to next concept now. Already discussed now, current is the rate of flow of charge. That means charge in motion that produces current. Current always flows in a conductor. If I take one metallic rod, assume this is a metallic rod or copper rod. Metallic rod or copper or conductors, they contain large number of charge carriers, the free electrons. They are in motion. Assume this one electron goes in this direction, one more goes here, one more is here, one more is here. These are electrons, they are in motion. Now is there current? So what is the value of current in this conductor now? Or is there flow of current in this conductor? Now current in this conductor is 0. Why current is 0 in this conductor? Because these electrons are moving in the random direction, the average velocity becomes 0. If you observe this one electron moves in this direction, one more electron moves here. So what is the average velocity of these two, or net velocity of these two? What happens? This will get cancelled out. One conductor contains large number of charge carriers. We can call that as N. If you want to call this a conductor, that should contain large number of charge carriers. It's N number of charge carriers are there. For every one electron, there is one more electron which is moving in the opposite direction. Therefore, the net velocity or average velocity becomes 0. Now, how to make the current to flow in this conductor? So now we have to do this electrons to move in one direction. Same conductor I will take. It's a conductor. I apply electric field by using one battery. Is like this. It's a battery. Now this is a DC supply. This indicates positive terminal and this indicates negative. Then this is a higher potential and this is a lower potential. This indicates positive and this indicates negative. So this is the direction of the electric field. Already studied in previous class, force experienced charge in the presence of electric field is F is equal to Q into E. F stands for force, Q stands for charge, and E stands for electric field. Now in this conductor, electrons are there. Charge of electron is negative. So this becomes F is equal to E into E. Since charge is negative, that experience force in the opposite direction of the electric field. That means force and electric field both are in the opposite direction. So these electrons now experience force. Now these electrons will move in this direction. Now if you observe this, all electrons are moving in one direction. Now there is current. Now this current is not equal to 0. Now average velocity is not equal to 0. Now these electrons are moving with a particular velocity. Name of that velocity is drift velocity. Notation is Vd. I will call that as drift velocity. We are going to study about this one in later classes. Just introduction part I told you. So I repeat the concept again. Current says rate of flow of charge. That means charge in motion that produces current. Current flows in a conductor. Assume that it's a metallic rod. There are free electrons. They are in motion. But is there current? Current is 0. Why current is 0? Because electrons are moving in the random direction. The average velocity becomes 0. Then how to make these electrons to move in one direction? We have to apply some external energy by using this battery. When you connect this battery, what happens? There is an electric field in this direction. Now all these electrons are going to experience force. These electrons are moving in the direction opposite to the applied electric field in this direction. This is a movement of electrons. Now all electrons are moving in one direction. Now the average velocity is not equal to 0. Therefore current also not equal to 0. That means there is flow of current. Okay. Now these electrons are moving with one particular speed or velocity. The name of the velocity is drift velocity. Later we are going to discuss about this concept. Now second, what is the direction of the current? That is also called as conventional direction. So we will discuss that here. Same conductor I redrawn here. This is a battery of potential difference V. Already studied potential. This is called a voltage or potential difference across this battery is V. Now what is the direction of the current? As I told, this is the direction of electric field. Now what happens? Electrons are moving in this direction. This is the direction of the electrons. Electrons will go in this direction. This is the direction of electrons. Now what is the direction of the current? Current is flowing from positive to negative. This is the direction of the current. Therefore, what is the conventional direction of the current? Current is flowing from positive to negative. Current is flowing from positive to negative. A simple words we can say that it's moving from higher potential to lower potential. It is moving from higher potential to lower potential because this side large positive, this side smaller negative. That means current is flowing from higher potential to lower potential. Now what about electrons? Electrons are negatively charged. They are moving from negative to positive. So this is the direction of electrons. They are moving from where to where? Negative to positive, whereas current is flowing from positive to negative. Electrons are moving from lower potential to higher potential, or current is moving from higher potential to lower. So this is the direction of electric field, or this is the direction of law of positive charge. So this is the conventional direction of the current. So this much we discuss about current. Quickly revise once. Current, rate of law of charge. I is equal to Q by T. SI unit is ampere. If we take any metallic rod, current is 0 in the absence of external electric field. When you apply electric field, electrons are moving one direction, they gives current. Now, what is the direction of the current? Conventional direction. Current is flowing from positive to negative, where electrons are moving from negative to positive. So in simple words, we can say that current is flowing from higher potential to lower potential, where electrons are moving from lower to higher potential. So this much basic concept about current. Next we'll relate the relation between current and potential difference. Okay. Next we'll discuss the relation between current and potential difference that is given by Ohm's. So next we are going to discuss Ohm's law. This is one of the very important relation. We'll discover this one now. So what is the Ohm's law says? First I'll take the statement over here. Let us discuss about this one. One of the important 2-mark question, this one. State and explain Ohm's law. So what is the Ohm's law says? It says current flowing through. It says current flowing through a conductor is current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across its ends provided temperature and other physical conditions are kept constant. Okay, this is a definition of Ohm's law. It says current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across its ends provided temperature and other physical conditions are kept constant. So we'll convert this one now to a mathematical form. It says current flowing through. Current always flows through a conductor and potential difference always measured across its ends. So if you observe this, these two are very important. Current flowing through and here potential difference across its ends. Okay, we'll convert into mathematical form. So current notation is what? I. Current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference. Potential difference notation is V. So what is the relation between these two? Direct. That means V is proportional to I. Now remove this proportionality. We'll replace by one constant. So V is equal to I into R. Now what is this R? R is the constant of proportionality that is known as resistance. R is the constant of proportionality that is known as resistance. Just explain the terms. V means potential difference across the conductor. Then I means what? Current flowing through the conductor. Now what is this R? R is constant proportionality that is known as resistance of the conductor. R is the resistance of the conductor. So if they ask for 2 marks, they can explain this much, you are right. You have to explain all the terms. So R is the resistance of conductor. As I told earlier, Ohm's law is one of the important law in this chapter. You can just remember like this: V, very important relation. V stands for very important relation. So V stands for potential difference, I stands for current, R stands for resistance. So just I'll rearrange this equation. I can write R is equal to V by I. So R equal to V by I. So V is the potential difference, I is the current. What is the unit of this one? Potential difference of voltage unit is volt, and this unit is what? Ampere. So this unit becomes, SI unit this becomes ohm, or this is the notation. SI unit of resistance is ohm, all small letters. This is the notation. This is SI unit of resistance. And few more extra things are here. This is very important. Provided temperature and other physical conditions are kept constant. If you observe any advertisement, at the bottom you can see something like this: star, conditions apply. These are the conditions for this law. This law or this relation is valid only with these conditions. If you obey these conditions, then only V is proportional to I. That means R is constant. Meaning of that one is R do not depend on V and I. I repeat my statement again. This R is constant of proportionality. This R do not depend on V and I. If R depends on V and I, that time it cannot be linear. That time this relation fails. Under Ohm's law, V is proportional to I. That time R is constant of proportionality which do not depend on V and I. Whereas V and I depends on R. Whereas I'll write that V and I depends on R. Voltage and current depends on resistance, but resistance do not depend on voltage and current. Okay, we'll move forward with this. First revise once again. Ohm's law: current flowing through the conductor is direct proportional to potential difference across its ends, provided temperature and other physical conditions are kept constant. Here given two conditions, this R comes here one constant because this R depends on these things. If you change these things, then this constant is going to change. That's why earlier we told R is the constant of proportionality. So V is proportional I, V potential difference, I is the current flowing through the conductor. Remove the proportionality, we'll get R. R is resistance of the conductor. Unit of that one is ohm, or R is equal to V by I. Already discussed Ohm's law. The last equation written there, resistance of the conductor. R is equal to the formula V by I. So how to define this resistance? So what is the meaning of this resistance? Resistance nothing but opposing. So first we'll define this definition with respect to this mathematical equation, which is very easy to define. It is the ratio of potential difference across the conductor to the current flowing through the conductor. Just I'll define this one. Resistance we are going to define. It is the ratio of I'll write in short form, potential difference across the conductor or across the ends of the conductor to the current flowing through the conductor. It is the ratio of potential difference across the conductor to the current flowing through the conductor. So unit of that already discussed, it is ohm. Notation is like this, or you can like this, ohm. Both are same. Now one more definition is without using any mathematical equation. Resistance nothing but is opposing. It is nothing but it is the opposition offered by the conductor. For the flow of current. Also you can say that for charge. It is the opposition offered by the conductor for the flow of charge or current, that is known as resistance. So two definitions are there, any one we can prefer. It is the ratio of potential difference across the conductor to the current flowing through the conductor, or it is the opposition offered by the conductor for the flow of current. Now next part we should define what is this ohm. So we'll define now 1 ohm. We'll define this unit. How to define this unit? I'll take this formula, R is equal to V by I. So whatever variables are in this equation, we replace it as 1. Its basic value, we put it as 1. So V equal to how much? 1 volt. I is equal to how much? 1 ampere. These are variables, I can fix these values. That R becomes how much? 1 ohm. So how to define this one now? Meaning of this one is, I'll take one conductor, I'll apply a potential difference of how much? 1 volt. If 1 ampere current flows through this conductor, that time resistance of this conductor is said to be 1 ohm. I'll consider these wires are ideal wire, they do not offer any resistance. So voltage across this conductor should become how much then? 1 ohm, 1 volt. So I taken one conductor, applied a potential difference of 1 volt. If current flowing through this conductor is 1 ampere, then resistance of this conductor is said to be 1 ohm. So I'll define. When we apply a potential difference of 1 volt, if the current flowing the conductor is 1 ampere, then resistance is said to be 1 ohm. When we apply a potential difference of 1 volt across its ends, if current flowing through that conductor is 1 ampere, the resistance is equal to 1 ohm. Okay. So resistance is clear. We define unit of resistance. One more point we'll discuss, reciprocal of resistance. All we discussed now resistance. Resistance nothing but opposition offered. Unit of that one is what? Ohm. Now we'll discuss reciprocal of that one. Reciprocal of that one is known as conductance. Reciprocal of that one is known as conductance. Notation is capital letter G. This notation is what? R. Conductance is notation is capital letter G. So what is conductance? G is equal to reciprocal of resistance. Resistance nothing but opposition offered. Conductance nothing but reciprocal of that one, then how much it allows. This we can say in a positive way, this we can speak into negative way. That means opposition, this allows. Okay. So what I am going to get here? 1 by R. 1 by R equal becomes what? Reciprocal of this I by V. So conductance is equal to I by V. Now already discussed unit of resistance is ohm and reciprocal of resistance is conductance. This will reverse it. This OHM is the will reverse and write. So this becomes MHO, mo. This symbol also will reverse it and will write like this. So this is the unit of, or these are the units of conductance. Conductance is the reciprocal of resistance. This is equal to 1 by V. So that is unit is mho, or this is a symbol. This also you can write as ohm inverse also you can write. Okay, we'll move to next concept now. Ohm's law equation I'll write. V is proportional to I. V is equal to I into R. And Ohm's law definition already told. And in this case we got one constant. What is that? R. And we told R do not depend on V and I. R do not depend on V and I, but whereas V and I depends on R. Therefore, this R depends on which quantities? R should depend on something, because already mentioned in the Ohm's law starting, some conditions were there. What are the conditions? Ohm's law says current flowing the conductor is proportional to potential difference across its ends, provided temperature and physical conditions are kept constant. It speaks about two things. One is temperature and second one is physical conditions. Physical conditions. That means Indirectly it says resistance or this constant depends on these things. So our next topic should be resistance depends on what quantities, or how to vary the resistance of a conductor. So we'll discuss that one. Next topic is below this. I'll write this equation, let it be here only. Dependence of. Now, dependence of resistance. I mean, resistance depends on what quantities? Resistance depends on three things. First one is dimensions. Dimensions of the conductor. Dimensions of the conductor. Second one, it depends on the temperature. Third one, it depends on the material. It depends on the material. So resistance depends on these three things: dimensions of the conductor, temperature, and material. Which material you are using, based on the resistance will change. At what temperature you are using, resistance will change. Or what dimensions you are going to use, resistance are going to change. Now this resistance, this entire thing we can relate to one concept, that is the road. Traffic roads we can observe. This is the road. So quality of the road decided by what? Length, width, or what material is used. These things are here. Road is nothing but we can say it as a conductor. On this one, vehicles are moving. Our vehicle is nothing but what? Electrons. And the road, you can see some arms are there. This we can call it as opposition or resistance. We can call it as, that is, resistor. At the same time, there are some potholes will be there here and there. This also offers some opposition. This all contributes to the resistance. This is nothing but opposition, resistance. Next, there are some junctions in the road. Division takes place. There are some junctions. Those also we are going to discuss. Okay, just relate that one here. We are going to study that concept now here. After this, first we are going to discuss dimensions of conductor. In what way resistance depends on dimensions. I'll repeat this one. V is proportional I. Here I got one constant. That constant depends on these three things. If I solve this, I'll get one more constant that is going to depend on remaining two. If I take this one, I'll get one more constant that is depend on material. This is the pattern we are going to follow here. Okay, we'll come to next topic now. Dimensions of the conductor. Next one we'll discuss dependence of or dependence on. Dimensions. Before that, first I'll write this relation here. V is equal to I into R. This R depends on three things we told: dimensions, second one is temperature, and third one is material. First we are going to discuss about dimensions. We'll see what dimension we are going to discuss here. Mainly we are going to discuss, one is the length and one more is the width. So in what way resistance depends on length? Resistance is proportional to length of the conductor. Resistance is proportional to length of the conductor. As length increases, opposition offered by this one goes on increases. In what way depends on the area? Which area are going to speak here? If this is a conductor or this is a rod, we are going to speak about this area, that is area of cross section. If this is a conductor, this area we are going to speak, that is called area of cross section. So this area, which is area of cross section. So inversely proportional to area of cross section. So resistance is proportional to length of the conductor and inverse proportional to area of cross section. What is the meaning of this? As you increase the length of the wire, resistance goes on increases. As you increase the width, resistance goes on decreases. Inverse proportional. Like our road, narrow road and wider road. This offers more resistance, this offers less resistance, because more vehicle can move at the same time. You can see 1, 2, 3 vehicles can go at the same time, but in this case only one vehicle can go. So if resistance increases, then what happens to current? Current has to decrease. This is my flow. Here more charges or more vehicles are flowing, here few are flowing. So here current is less and here current is more. So R is proportional, L inverse proportional to A. We'll remove this proportionality now. So what we can write here? R is equal to rho. into L by A. I remove the proportionality, I brought one constant here, I made it equal. Now this is equal, earlier case it says relation, how this R depends on L and A. So what is this rho? Rho is known as resistivity. Resistivity of the material or conductor, you can say. Resistivity of the material or the conductor. What is this resistivity? We will discuss now. So I will rearrange this equation. Rho is equal to, I can say rho equal to R into A divided by L. So R equal to rho into L by A. So rho equal to R into A divided by L. Now what is the unit of this resistivity? So what is the unit of this R? This already we studied. What is that? Ohm. What is the unit of this A? Area of cross section. What is that? Meter square. What is the unit of this length? Which is meter. Now what happens? This meter and this meter, one will cancel out. What remains then? Ohm meter. So rho is the resistivity of the material. What is the unit I can write? It is ohm meter. So unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Rho equal to R into A divided by L. Okay. Now we have defined this resistivity. We already told rho stands for resistivity. What is the definition of the resistivity? We will define that one now. So how to define? Okay. Next we are going to define definition of resistivity. How to define? So formula says rho equal to RA divided by L. So what are the variables are here? We will replace it as 1. So I will start now explanation. I will take one conductor whose length equal to how much? 1 meter. I will take one conductor whose length is equal to 1 meter. Area of cross section is how much? 1 meter square. Length 1 meter, area of cross section is 1 meter square. Then what remains here? Then come this formula as rho equal to R. Rho equal to R. So how to define this? This is in mathematical form. We are defined now. How to start? From here we will start. So resistivity is equal to resistance of the conductor. So we are going to define now resistivity of conductor. So I will say like this. Resistivity is equal to resistance of conductor having unit length and unit area of cross section. Resistivity, I will write in short forms here. Resistivity is equal to resistance of the conductor. Conductor having how much? Unit length and unit area of cross section. What is the unit area of cross section? You take one conductor whose length is how much? 1 meter. This area of cross section how much? 1 meter square. That time this one's resistivity is equal to resistance. So resistivity is equal to resistance of the conductor. This is numerically equal value. This unit different, this unit different. I can say one more word, numerically equal, but I have not placed that one here. You can write later. Resistance of the conductor is numerically equal to resistance of the conductor having unit length and unit area of cross section. This unit and this unit both will be different. This in terms of ohm meter, this in terms of ohm. Because two extra things are here. What is that? Meter square and meter. So it becomes at the end ohm meter only. Okay. So quickly revise the concept here. Dependence on dimension. What dependence? Resistance R. Direct proportional length, inverse proportional to area of cross section. Remove the proportionality, we will get constant rho. Rho is known as resistivity of the material. Unit of that one is ohm meter. Next, rho is equal to what we can write? Cross multiply R into A divided by L. So how to define resistivity? So L is equal to 1 meter, area equal to 1 meter square and rho equal to R. That means when you take one conductor having unit length and unit area of cross section, that time resistance of the conductor is equal to its resistivity. So rho is equal to R into A divided by L. This is known as resistivity. This is called as resistivity. Okay. Now already said earlier resistance and its reciprocal is known as conductance. This is resistance and reciprocal is conductance. Now this is resistivity, its reciprocal is known as conductivity. Conductivity notation is sigma. Reciprocal is one you can write 1 by rho. So reciprocal of resistivity is conductivity. So what is the unit of this one? Resistivity unit is what? Ohm meter. So this one's reciprocal becomes mho, this becomes meter inverse. So reciprocal of resistivity is known as conductivity, unit is mho meter inverse or mho per meter. Okay. Now this rho depends on what quantities, or rather I can say this rho do not depend on length and area. Rho do not depend on length and area. This one do not depend on L and A, because L and A are variables, whereas rho is constant. Have we got this rho earlier? We written like this earlier. R is proportional to L, inverse proportional to A. And we told like this, replace the proportionality by constant. So that means rho is a constant that cannot depend on L and A. Therefore, rho should depend on something else. So what is that one? That will mention here. So here I got one constant rho. That rho will depend on remaining these two. So V is equal to I into R, and here we got R constant that depends on these three. Later we elaborated dimensions and we got one constant, that is rho. Rho do not depend on dimensions, depends on remaining two, temperature and material. Later we will discuss how it depends on that one. So conclusion here is rho independent of dimensions. Rho or resistivity is independent of dimension. Whatever the dimensions may be, increase the length, double, triple, any times you make, resistivity is not going to change. Therefore resistor depends on what quantities? Already mentioned there. Rho depends on what? Temperature and material. So it depends on these two, depends on first and second one here, it depends on temperature and material. So next topic we are going to discuss how resistivity depends on temperature and material. So a quick revision here, R is proportional L by A, R equal to rho into L by A, rho equal to RA by L. So unit is ohm meter. Reciprocal of resistivity is conductivity, unit is mho per meter. Rho independent of dimensions, do not depend on dimensions, but rho depends on what? Temperature and material. So next we are going to discuss dependence of resistivity on temperature and material. Next we will continue. Temperature dependence of resistivity. That means in what way resistivity depends on temperature. So that formula I will give directly. That formula is rho of T is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Rho of T is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Just explain these terms. What is the meaning of this? Rho of T stands for resistivity at temperature T. This is a resistivity at temperature T. And rho naught is a resistivity at temperature T naught. And this is alpha. What is this alpha? Temperature coefficient of the resistivity that depends on material. So I will write here alpha is temperature coefficient of the resistivity of the material. So what is the unit of this one? This unit is, if you write temperature in terms of Celsius, it inverse. just I'll say like this, unit is like this, temperature, its inverse. Then if you write in Celsius, that becomes per degree Celsius. If you write in Kelvin, that becomes per Kelvin. Because the difference you can write in Celsius also, Kelvin, no problem. Difference always same in Celsius and Kelvin. So if you mention temperature in Celsius, that becomes per degree Celsius and become per Kelvin. So rho of T is the resistivity at temperature T. Rho naught is the resistivity at temperature T naught. Alpha is called temperature coefficient of the resistivity of the material. Now, is there a relation with the rho of T and resistance? Earlier formula we wrote, this formula we wrote there earlier, rho equal to R into A divided by L. That formula I'll apply here. So rho equal to RA by L, otherwise I'll write somewhere here. So rho equal to RA by L. If I apply this formula over here, that becomes RTA by L equal to R naught A by L into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Now this A by L cancels, then what comes here? So the formula becomes RT is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. So this is a formula. So this formula, the steps are not required, just you can ignore this step. Only this formula and this formula you can take, this formula and this formula. Now what is this RT? RT is the resistance at temperature T. R naught is the resistance at temperature T naught, and alpha is temperature coefficient of the material. So here we got one constant alpha. So alpha depends on what? By doing this one temperature, we got here one alpha, we got one constant alpha, that depends on the material. You can just follow the pattern now, what we discussed just now, you can observe. V is proportional I, there we got one constant R. This R depends on these three dimensions, temperature and material. Then we discussed dimension, there we got one constant that depends on what? Temperature and material. When doing this one, we got one more constant that depends on the material. Particular pattern we can observe that one here. V is proportional I, we got constant R. R depends on these three. We take the dimensions, there we got a constant rho that depends on temperature and material, independent of dimensions. Alpha depends on material, it's independent of temperature and dimensions. Okay, this much about resistance and Ohm's law. Then just to discuss about alpha, this we can discuss in the next class, how this alpha depends on material and all those things, we will discuss that one. There are two types of alpha can be possible, positive and negative. Later we can discuss about that one. Next class we will discuss about this one. Last class already studied about current electricity. We already started the chapter and we discussed about current. Just to revise, quick revision we will do and move to next topics. So what is current? Quickly revise that one. Current, I is equal to formula Q by T, rate of flow of charge. Unit of that one is ampere. Then we discussed about Ohm's law. What Ohm's law says? V is proportional I, become V is equal to I into R. And it's a Ohm's law says like this: current flow in the conductor is proportional to potential difference across its ends, provided temperature and physical conditions are kept constant. And we got this relation, and we got one constant R. R is known as resistance of the conductor. That depends on what quantities? That already mentioned. Resistance depends on dimensions, temperature and material. It depends on these things, but resistance do not depend on voltage and current. Then what is the definition of resistance? It is the opposition offered by the conductor for the flow of charge or current. It is nothing but opposition, or also we can say that R is equal to V by I. It is the ratio of potential difference across the conductor to the current flowing through the conductor. Then we discuss how resistance depends on dimensions. We study like this: R is proportional to L, inverse proportional to A, and we got R equal to rho into L by A. Then we got one constant rho that is called as resistivity, that do not depend on dimensions, do not depend on length and area, but depends on what? Temperature and material. You stretch the wire, compress the wire, resistivity is not going to change, but resistance is going to change. Resistivity will remain same. That depends on only temperature and material. Now what is this resistivity? We discuss like this. Resistivity is numerically equal to resistance of conductor having unit length and unit area of cross section. Unit area of cross section. And SI unit of this one also we discussed. What SI unit of that one is ohm meter. Then we discuss how this resist depends on temperature. That formula was like this: rho of T equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Then we written in terms of resistance, RT equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. This is the formula. RT is the resistance at temperature T, R naught is the resistance at temperature T naught, and alpha is temperature coefficient of the resistivity of the material. So that only depends on the material. This much we discussed last class. Now only we have pending topic is this one. We'll continue with this one, alpha. Now alpha can be of two types. Alpha can be positive or alpha can be negative. I'll keep this formula, remaining things I'll erase. I'll continue with the next topic. So RT is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. Okay. So alpha can be two types. Alpha can be positive or alpha can be negative. Alpha is positive for which one? Metals. Alpha is positive for metals, and alpha is negative which one? Semiconductors or insulators. Also I can say insulators. In metals what happens? As temperature increases, before that you can observe alpha is positive, then becomes here 1 plus this term will come. In this case alpha is negative, then what happens this equation? 1 minus will come. That means what? 1 minus means resistance is going to decrease. Here resistance decreases. So what happens here? Resistance increases. And we know the formula for current, I is equal to V by R. If resistance increases, what happens to current? Current should decrease. So in this case what happens? Current is going to decrease. In this case current is going to increase. Alpha is positive for metals and negative for semiconductors or insulators. In metals, as you increase the temperature, resistance increases, so current decreases. That means they may not act as that good conductor at higher temperature, but this acts as good conductor at lower temperature. Whereas semiconductors at lower temperature acts as bad conductors. Semiconductor at 0 Kelvin acts as perfect insulator. As you increase the temperature, what happens? Resistance goes on, decreases, current flowing through them increases. That means they act as good conductors. That means this alpha values mainly depends on the material. Okay, we'll move to the next topics now based on Ohm's law. Next topic we'll discuss here, current density. Notation is J. Current density. You know the mass density. What is the mass density? Mass by volume. Here current density we are going to discuss. So what is current density? I'll just write equation. J is equal to I by A. Current flowing per unit area. Or is the ratio of current by area or current flowing per unit area. Okay. Current flowing per unit area is known as current density. So what is the unit of this current density? Current unit is, what is the unit of current? Ampere. Unit of area is, this is not ampere, this is area. So ampere divided by unit of area is meter square. So becomes what here? Ampere per meter square. So unit of current density is ampere per meter square. And this is one vector quantity. So I'll mention like this here. If an extra some note I'll write. If I rearrange this, I is equal, I can write J into A. So this is nothing but J vector dot A vector. I is nothing but J vector dot A vector. It's extra things, you just ignore this one. So current flowing per unit area is known as current density. So J is equal to I by A, and current flowing per unit area mentioned here. Okay. Next we'll discuss about Ohm's law again. Our next topic is Ohm's law. Once again we'll discuss, but Ohm's law in vector form. Ohm's law in vector form. What equation of Ohm's law? V is equal to I into R. V is equal to I into R. How to write this one in vector form? V is what? Scalar. I is also scalar. R is also scalar. So cannot put any cap something. We cannot put that one. Then how to write this one in vector form? So therefore we are going to use the new term what we studied earlier. Just to discuss that one topic. J is equal to I by A. I told. This J is vector quantity. With the help of this one, we are going to write Ohm's law in vector form. That means when you write in vector form, you may not contain this equation. You will get some other equation which is equivalent to this one. That means that and this will be same, but representation will be different. Okay, how to write that? We'll start now. Our equation is V is equal to I into R. From here only we are going to start and ending with the vector form. Before going to this, I just explain some basic concept what we studied in the previous classes or previous chapter. One relation we studied, relation between electric field and electric potential. So just an equation, just for revision, E is equal to minus dV by dl. Electric field E is equal to minus dV by dl. Those who forgot on just revision I will do. Something we are taken to equipotential surface, and this is our electric field. We moved 1 coulomb of charge from this place to here, dl. So this is dl, and we got the work formula. At the end we got E is equal to minus dV by dl. This equation derivation derived in previous chapter. Relation between electric field and electric potential under equipotential surfaces. Okay. So in this case, I am not using minus sign. I am not going to use this dV by dl. Just I am going to write in this case as in this chapter V by L. So just alter this one. E is equal to V by L. I'll write. I ignore this dV and dV term. Just I'll write V by L. What is V? V is the potential difference across that conductor, and L is length of that conductor. Is like this. This is a conductor. What is the potential difference across this conductor? That is V. Length of this one is L. Earlier also I showed something electric field come like this. That electric field. So E is equal to V by L. This also we can call like this potential gradient. Potential divided by length. So unit of this one is volt per meter. Okay. We'll come back to our topic now. We'll continue with the Ohm's law in vector form now. First I'll take Ohm's law. What is the equation for that one? Ohm's law equation is V equal to I into R. I call this equation number 1. V is the potential difference, I is the current, and R is the resistance of the conductor. Just you are going to replace all the variables, so I am going to get one new equation. First I will start with this V. So relation between, just I'll write, relation between electric field, I write in short form, electric field and potential. What is that one? This one. E is equal to V by L. So I can write V is equal to E into L. I call this as equation number 2. Same equation I wrote here. E is equal to V by L. V is the potential difference across that conductor, and L is the length of the conductor. So V is equal to E into L. So this is not required now here. Okay. Next I will go into replace this R because there is something L term comes here. Then resistance. Resistance I can write R equal to rho into L by A. Rho is the resistivity, L is the length, and A is the area of cross section. While doing, just explain the terms here. All the terms explain. Just I told that you can write in my sentence that one. So this is equation number 3. So I got all the terms. I am going to replace it back now. So what happens now? Substitute equation 3, 2 and 2 in which one? 1. We'll take these two, substitute this one. What happens? We'll check here. So E into L is equal to, here becomes what? I as it is, and here R becomes what? Rho into L by A. E into L is equal to I into rho into L by A. So L is going to cancel out. So what comes here now? E is equal to I in by A, I by A into rho. So just I'll continue over here now. So this equation I'll rewrite here. E is equal to I by A into rho. Okay. So I by A stands for what? Already finished. Just now we finished that. I by A stands for current density. So this I can write as J. This is rho. So this rho you bring this side. I write like this. J is equal to, this is J. J equal, what I can write? Bring this rho this side. 1 by rho into E. This rho I brought this side. So 1 by rho into E. 1 by rho is known as what? Sigma. That is conductivity. So I can write this is vector, A vector, this is J vector. Somewhere side I can write J means what? I by A. That is known as what? Current density. And one more extra term you got. What is here? Sigma. What is a sigma? Sigma equal to 1 by rho, which is equal to what? Conductivity. Okay. We'll go through once again now. Anyways, J is vector form, E also vector, so is sigma. So Ohm's law in vector form we are going to derive. Approve that one. Ohm's law equation is one. V is equal to I into R. We cannot write this in vector form. We cannot put any vector for this one. Some other form you have to bring. Now this equation and this one both are same. Only format wise they are different. So first we'll start with this V. So relation between electric field and electric potential is E is equal to V by L. V stands for potential difference across the conductor. If I take this is a conductor, potential difference across this one is V, and length of this one is L, V by L. So V is equal to E into L, just multiply. I call that equation number 2. Next, resistance. Resistance of this conductor is R is equal to rho. Rho stands for resistivity of this material into L, length, into area of cross section A. Equation number 3. Equation number 2 and equation number 3 you take, substitute in 1. So I'll get one equation like this. L is common, cancel out. E is equal to I by A into rho. Now what is this I by A? Current flowing per unit area, that is known as current density, J, into rho. Now I want something sigma E, all those things. So this rho I'll bring this side. So 1 by rho into E. Just rearrange this one here. Actually equation I wrote like this. J rho is equal to E. So this rho I brought this side. So 1 by rho becomes what? Sigma. So what is this sigma? Sigma is known as conductivity. So J vector equal to sigma into E vector. This is the equation for Ohm's law in vector form. So J is also vector quantity, E also vector quantity. Okay, I hope you are clear with this concept. We'll move to the next topic now. Next we'll discuss about ohmic devices. So next topic or next heading is ohmic devices, or also called as linear devices. So what is the meaning of ohmic devices? Starting we wrote something like this. V is proportional to I. In the Ohm's law we studied this one. V is proportional to I. This is actually linear relation. If I draw this one in a graph format, this is a graph, voltage along x-axis, current along y-axis. I'll get one graph like this. Conditions apply. This graph is a linear line and should pass to the origin. Any device, if I draw this one, if the graph comes in this form, then that device is known as ohmic device. Simple words I can say, a device which obeys Ohm's law. Device which obeys Ohm's law is known as, or devices which obeys Ohm's law are known as ohmic devices or linear devices. For those devices only, Ohm's law is valid. We'll give some example for this one. Examples, what you can write? Resistor. Now what is resistor? We studied something now, resistance. Resistance is a property. It is the opposition offered by the conductor. Resistor is a component which offers resistance. Resistor is a component which offers resistance. Symbol of that one is something like this. This is a symbol of the resistor. So this component is a linear device which obeys Ohm's law. Then if I draw one graph I versus V, I'll get one graph like this. So what is the meaning of this graph? When voltage is 0, current also 0. As you increase the voltage, current also increases. Graph can be like this also. You can get a graph like this also, no problem. But graph should pass through the origin and it should be linear. Then it obeys Ohm's law. Okay. One is resistor. Next, we can write voltmeter. What is voltmeter? Voltmeter device which used to measure potential difference across the conductor. Assume that this conductor resistance, this resistor values are I is the current flow in this one. I want to measure what is the voltage across this conductor, so I'll connect voltmeter like this. This voltmeter also a ohmic device. Voltmeter is always connected in parallel with the component. Next one more is the ammeter. What is ammeter? Ammeter is a device used to measure current flowing through the component. Suppose I want to measure what is the current flow in this resistor, I'll place somewhere here. This is ammeter. Notation is A. Ammeter is always connected in series with the component and voltmeter always connected in parallel. So these three are example for ohmic devices which obeys Ohm's law. Now I'll discuss something about this graph also. So already I have drawn one graph here, I versus V. Graph should be linear, pass the origin. Just elaborate this one here. V is proportional to I, V is equal to I into R is the equation. If I rearrange this equation, I'll get I is equal to 1 by R into V. This equation of the form Y is equal to mx plus C. Just extra information I'll give you. What is this C? C is 0. Intercept from its starts is 0. So remains Y is equal to mx plus C. If I compare these two equations, in the place of Y, what is here? I. In the place of X, what is here? V. Just compare these two. In the place of X, V is here. In the place of M, what is here? 1 by R. That means slope of this graph equal to what? 1 by R. 1 by R means what? Conductance. Already finished that one, conductance. If I want resistance, then what do you have to do? Slope. There is one experiment based on this concept. So we are going to calculate resistance per unit length. We are going to calculate resistance of one wire of length how much? 1 meter. In that case, we are going to apply this concept and we are going to say resistance equal to reciprocal of the slope. That time our graph must pass to the origin. These are the points I will get, and graph must pass to the origin. Then we can say that the device obeys Ohm's law. Okay. So just a device, ohmic device, a device which obeys Ohm's law. Example, resistor, voltmeter, ammeter. If I draw one graph for that one, I'll get the graph in this format. It's linear, graph must pass through the origin. Then only it obeys Ohm's law. Otherwise, that do not obey Ohm's law. For example, if I draw one graph like this, V versus I, this graph is linear. But this do not obey Ohm's law, or this is not an ohmic device. Why? Because it starts from here. That means when V is 0, I is not equal to 0. That time this device, whatever graph I drawn for which one device, the device of that component do not obey Ohm's law. Next we'll discuss non-ohmic device, is also called as non-linear devices. Non-ohmic devices, non-ohmic devices or non-linear devices. So what is non-ohmic devices or non-linear device? Device which like obeys was there, now becomes what? Do not obey. Device which do not obey Ohm's law or device which do not obey Ohm's law are known as non-ohmic devices or non-linear devices. There are many non-linear devices. Example, if I start with the what you studied in earlier classes, that is one capacitor is there. This comes in your second chapter. electric potential and capacitance. This is a capacitor. Symbol of that one is something like this comes, two parallel lines. Okay, if I draw something like this, this is a symbol of battery, this is symbol of battery. We should draw two parallel lines, equal length. Okay. Next, inductor. Inductor means one coil. It's also called as solenoid. Okay. Next, all semiconductor devices. Semiconductor, all devices comes under nonlinear. One example I can give, diode, or you can say LED, or transistor. LED means light emitting diode, or transistor. This all comes under semiconductor devices. This is an example for non-ohmic devices. If I draw the graph for non-ohmic, what type of graphs I'll get? This is V, here is I. If I draw one graph for diode, I may get graph something like this. This graph is not a linear, it is non-linear. You can observe here, after some time what happens, there is no increase in the voltage, current goes on, increases. In this case, we cannot say V is proportional to I, it's not possible. This do not obey Ohm's law. This is actually graph for diode. Other graphs also you can draw here, V versus I, one graph something like this. This is also example for non-ohmic devices. These are graph for non-ohmic devices, devices which do not obey Ohm's law. Devices or devices which do not obey Ohm's law are known as non-ohmic. Example, capacitor, inductor, diode, transistor. Together you can say semiconductor devices. And devices which obey Ohm's law are known as ohmic devices. Okay, we'll move next topic now. We'll draw some graphs relation with resistivity versus temperature. We'll draw 3-4 graphs here now. Graphs, variation of resistivity versus temperature. Already studied resistivity depends on temperature. That time I not explained about graphs. I want to continue that pattern. Now we'll draw graphs resistivity versus temperature. First we'll draw for copper. For copper, which graphs resistivity versus temperature. These graphs we are going to draw. Okay, first graph I'll draw here. Temperature along x-axis in kelvins and resistivity along y-axis. So what is the range of resistivities we are going to mention here? Somewhere I'll take now 0.2 and here is 0.4 I'll mention. So this is along y-axis resistivity. This is of the order of some SI unit of this one is ohm meter. This is of the order of some micro ohm meter. And this temperature I'll mention here. This is in kelvins. So what type of graph I am going to get? I'll get something like this. I'll get one graph in this form. This is for copper resistivity versus temperature. This is a graph I drawn. This resistor you can write 10 to the power -8 ohm meter we can write in terms of meter, or you can centimeter also become -6 we can write. Okay. If you observe that here, as the temperature changes, resistivity also changes faster. That means here in the case of copper or the metals, resistivity varies faster with the temperature. Resistivity varies faster with the temperature. That means metals whose resistance or resistivity depends more on temperature. Now we'll go for some type of alloys. What happens in that case? Whose resistivity less depend on temperature. We'll draw it for one nichrome also. Our next graph is nichrome. This is a nichrome. This is an alloy. Resistivity of the order of micro ohm centimeter versus temperature in Kelvin. This is almost linear graph we got. Now you can observe that here. You can temperature 200, 400, 600, 800 kelvins. This various factor is very small. That means this depends on temperature, but dependent factor is very, very small. That means slowly changes as you change the temperature. But this variation is more. There were some of the resistor and some of the components mainly made up of this type of nichromes or alloys, because their resistivity is less dependent on temperature. So one more question, they can ask some resistor, all those things made up of nichrome, because their resistivity is less dependent on temperature. Depends, but variation is very less, whereas this responds faster. These two graphs you can draw one is for copper and one is for nichrome. And next one, we'll draw one more graph for semiconductors. Temperature and here resistivity. What type of graph we'll get? As temperature increases, earlier case already mentioned, alpha is negative for which one? Semiconductors. That means as temperature increases, resistance is going to decrease. So graph comes something like this. And this is for semiconductors. So these three graphs, one is for copper or metal, this is for alloy or nichrome, you can say. This is semiconductor. Semiconductor alpha is negative. As you increase the temperature, resistivity or resistance goes on, decreases. These are the three graphs based on resistivity and temperature, or resistivity versus temperature, resistor along y-axis and temperature along x-axis. Okay, we'll move to next topic now. Okay, we'll solve some problems now. First problem, a negligibly small current is passed through a wire of length 15 meter. So length is given here 15 meter and uniform cross section, that is area of cross section 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 meters square, and its resistance is measured to be 5 ohm. Resistance is measured to be 5 ohm. What is the resistivity of the material at the temperature of the experiment? So we have to calculate resistivity, area is given, resistance is given and length is given. A simple problem this one. So solution, first we'll write given data. Length is given, length is how much? 15 meter. Then area of a cross section is given, area is how much? 6 10 to the power minus 7 meters square. Then resistance is given, R is equal to 5 ohm. So we have to calculate resistivity. So relation between all this is given by resistance R is equal to, formula is rho into L by A. But it is asked to calculate resistivity. So rho is equal to R into A divided by L. We'll just substitute values. R value is given 5, area is given 6 10 to the power minus 7 and length is given as 15. So this is 1 time, this becomes 3 times, this is 1 time, this is 2. So it becomes here 2 10 to the power minus 7 ohm meter. So resistivity of the material is 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 ohm meter. We'll go through once again. A negligible small current is passed through a wire of length 15 meter. So this is a length 15 meter and uniform area of cross section, 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 meters square, and its resistance is measured to be 5 ohm. Resistance given. What is the resistivity of the material at the temperature of the experiment? Okay, so length is 15 meter, area is this much, 6 10 to the power minus 7 meters square, R is 5 ohm, resistivity how much we have to calculate. So what is resistance formula? R is equal to rho into L by A in terms of dimensions. Resistivity we have to calculate, so rho is equal to R into A divided by L. So R value is 5 ohm, A value is 6 10 to the power minus 7 meters square divided by length is 15 meter, just divide, answer becomes 2 10 to the power minus 7 ohm meter. This is the value of resistivity. Now we'll move to the next problem, question number 2. Now we'll go to next problem. A silver wire has a resistance of 2.1 ohm. A silver wire has a resistance of 2.1 ohm at 27.5 degrees Celsius and resistance of 2.7 ohm at 100 degrees Celsius. Determine or calculate the temperature coefficient of resistivity of silver. That means they asked alpha to calculate. Silver wire has resistance of 2.1 ohm at this temperature and resistance of 2.7 ohm at 100 degrees Celsius. You have to calculate temperature coefficient of the silver. Okay, we'll take the solution now. First we'll write given data. This is a resistance at 27, so this is R naught. R naught is 2.1 ohm is a temperature. I can call this as T naught, 27.5 degrees Celsius. And it's a second resistance given. I call that as RT is equal to 2.7 ohm. 2.7 ohm. This is 2.1 ohm. At 100 degrees Celsius, that is T is equal to 100 degrees Celsius. This is a resistance at this temperature, and RT is a resistance at temperature T. Now we have to calculate alpha temperature coefficient. This is nothing but alpha. This is alpha you have to calculate. Okay, which formula to apply now here? The formula is RT is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. RT equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. We'll substitute values. So R naught value is here 2.1. RT value is there 2.7 ohm into 1 plus alpha value to calculate. So T value is 100 minus 27.5 degrees Celsius is the value. Okay. Now just we'll divide this one. This becomes 9. This becomes 7. So becomes here 9 is equal to 7 into, this is 1 plus alpha into 100 minus 27.5 becomes how much? 72.5. If we solve this, bring this side, otherwise 9 by 7, or just rearrange this one. 9 is equal to 7 plus alpha into 7 into 72.5. So alpha value comes how much? Alpha is equal to this 7, you bring this side, 9 minus 7 divided by this term you write in denominator, 7 into 72.5. So just solve this, numerator becomes 2. So answer comes around 0.0039 per degree Celsius. If you solve this one, alpha becomes 0.0039 per degree Celsius. Okay. So this is a formula. This formula is resistance, or it depends on the temperature. Or resistivity, or depends on the temperature formula. RT is a resistance at temperature T. R naught is a resistance at temperature T naught, and alpha is temperature coefficient. And this is a metal, silver wire. Alpha always positive. So just substitute. Here RT is 2.7, R naught is 2.1, alpha you have to calculate. T value is given 100 and T naught is 27.5. If we solve everything, we just rearrange and solve. Alpha becomes 0.0039 per degree Celsius. You can just solve this one. 7, here comes 9, and just calculate this 72.5, and this term if you multiply inside or divide also you can do. 9, 7, here alpha into 7 into 72.5. Solve that. Alpha value is 0.0039 per degree Celsius. Okay. Now we'll move to the next problem, question number 3. Okay. We'll solve our third problem now. At room temperature, they already mentioned temperature 27 degrees Celsius, the resistance of a heating element is 100 ohm. That means at room temperature, resistance is 100 ohm. What is the temperature of the element if the resistance is found to be 117 ohm, given that temperature coefficient of the material of the resistor is 1.7 10 to the power -4 per degree Celsius. Okay. We'll write given data first, later we'll solve the problem. We'll go to once again. Room temperature or temperature is given, that is T naught I can write, that is equal to 27 degrees Celsius. The resistance of a heating element is 100 ohm, that means R naught is equal to 100 ohm. R naught equal to 100 ohm. What is the temperature of the element? You have to calculate temperature. So T question mark. If the resistance is found to be 117, so this temperature resistance is 117 ohm. So this temperature resistance is 117, but we don't know what is the value of this temperature. We have to calculate. Then given that the temperature coefficient of material of the resistor is given, alpha value. Alpha is how much? 1.7 into 10 to the power -4 per degree Celsius. Okay, this much given data, we'll solve this problem now. Which formula apply? Same as earlier, second problem, which formula applied? Same you have to apply here also. The formula is RT is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T minus T naught. I can explain this formula again. RT is a resistance at T. R naught is a resistance at T naught temperature. Alpha is temperature coefficient. Now you have to calculate this T value. Okay, RT value how much given? 117 equal to R naught value 100. 1 plus alpha given 1.7 10 to the power minus 4 into T value don't know, you have to calculate, and T naught is given 27 degrees Celsius is given. Okay. Now this 100, I'll bring this side, so becomes out 117 by 100, that becomes 1.17 is equal to 1 plus 1.7 10 to the power minus 4 into T minus 27. This one you bring this side, 1.17 minus 1, that becomes 0.17. 0.17 equal to 1.7 10 to the power minus 4 into T minus 27. Now this term also bring this side, after that will continue over here. So 0.17 divided by 1.7 10 to the power minus 4 is equal to T minus 27. Now 0.17 divided by 1.7 becomes 0.1. This 10 to the power minus 4, take it up, becomes 10 to the power plus 4. 0.17 divided by 1.7 becomes 0.1. This you take up, becomes 10 to the power plus 4 equal to T minus 27. This actually becomes here 1000 equal to T minus 27. So T is equal to 27, you bring this side, becomes 1027 degree Celsius. 1027 degree Celsius. So at room temperature, go to question, 27 degrees Celsius, T naught this much, R naught is 100, T you have to calculate what temperature asked, RT value given here 117 ohm, alpha value also given here. So this is a formula. RT value is here 117, R naught value is 100 into 1 plus alpha value is here, T value don't need to calculate, T naught is 27. Just substitute. This 100 bring this side, 1.17 will come, 117 divided by 100 become 1.17 equal to 1 plus 1.7 10 to the power minus 4 into T minus 27. If I rearrange this one, bring this term this side, 0.17 equal to 1.7 10 to the minus 4, T minus 27 comes. This term come, bring this side, this much come, T minus 27, this much actually becomes 1000. This 0.17 divided by 1.7 comes 0.1 in 10 to the power plus 4 equal to T minus 27. This term becomes 1000 equal to T minus 27. So T is equal to 1027 degree Celsius. So here we finish the problem. Next we'll move to some of the concepts now. Now already we discussed Ohm's law. What the Ohm's law statement says? Current flow in the conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across its ends, provided temperature and physical conditions are kept constant. That means law itself, it contains some conditions. That means that valid only if you obey those conditions. That means there are some limitations for Ohm's law. So now we are going to discuss what are the limitations of Ohm's law. So next topic is limitations of Ohm's law. Okay. So what are limitations of Ohm's law? First one, Ohm's law is applied only for ohmic device, applicable only for, you can say only valid for ohmic devices, are only applied for ohmic devices, is not applicable for non-ohmic devices, is not applicable for capacitor, inductor or semiconductor devices, is applicable only for ohmic devices, devices which obeys Ohm's law, only valid or only applied for ohmic devices. What is the second limitation? Second year speaks about, in the condition earlier case, temperature and physical conditions are kept constant. That means Ohm's law is valid or cannot be applied at very high and very low temperature, not applicable at very high and very low temperature. We cannot apply Ohm's law at very high and very low temperature. Very high temperature and very low temperature. Other than that, we can apply Ohm's law. Now, third one is one more. All the physical conditions are kept constant. That means Ohm's law applicable only when all the physical parameters are kept constant. Applicable only when all the physical parameters are kept constant. Okay, these are three main limitations of Ohm's law. We'll go through once again. Only valid for only applicable for ohmic devices. Only applicable for ohmic devices, is not applicable for non-ohmic devices. Second one, not applicable at very high and very low temperature. We cannot apply at very high and very low temperature. Next, applicable only when all the physical parameters are kept constant. If we change the physical parameters, that Ohm's law is not going to apply. We cannot apply that one, because this is a relation V is equal to I into R is constant, or proportionality. If we change these parameters, R is going to change. So these are three main limitations of Ohm's law. 2 marks or 3 mark question is this one. There are limitations of Ohm's law. Okay, this much we finished here Ohm's related concepts.